Dotsie style. She didn't take long to become from, just starting to be an Uber something as a Uber athlete and then an Uber activist because and we've mentioned it on the podcast several times because it's such an accomplishment. You produced a anti-dairy commercial directed by an Oscar-winning filmmaker where you recruited athletes from 4 different countries to go up against the dairy industry, specifically the dairy industry that is a huge sponsor of the Olympic Games, a patron of yours in a way, right?
A
partner,
right,
certainly.
Right.
And this anti-dairy commercial aired during the closing ceremonies of the 2018 Olympic Games in Pyongyang. And caused a lot of controversy and friction from the Olympic Committee. And then it also aired at the Oscars too, right?
Right. And
so, wow, Dotsie, you just started playing in the big leagues right away.
Yeah. Well, I just was so frustrated by the sort of the twisting and the misleading messages that the dairy industry was portraying and pushing via the vehicle of Olympic athletes. It's not, cow's milk is not, well, it's not a food for humans, first of all. So I don't even like to call it a food. It's a food for cows, young baby cows. So it's a material or it's a substance or whatever it might be. And it is not what many Olympic athletes use to produce premium performances. It's not what we need to ingest to be great,
but that's
or
what
to win medals. And that's what they have you believing.
Pushing, yeah.
Absolutely. Like their commercials, 9 out of 10 Olympians grew up drinking milk could be very true statement. Everyone grew up smoking in the 1920s. Obviously we move along and we learn, but that they're perpetuating a belief system that in order to be great at athletics, you needed to have, grow up drinking cow's milk, which obviously when you say that out loud sounds like the most ridiculous thing ever when you don't call it milk, but you call it cow's milk. Like, in order to be an incredible athlete and stand on the podium at Olympic Games, you needed to have drank the breast milk from a cow.
Another species.
Yeah, right. Specifically a cow. Not a dog or a zebra or an elephant, but from a cow. I mean, it's insanity. And it just, I think it just, for me, it just reached its peak when I was watching these commercials as I was watching the Olympic trials in 2018 on NBC, and these commercials started coming out. And I just felt this need to tell the truth. That's really how we put together the commercial that aired on the closing ceremonies of 2018 was got together 7 dairy-free Olympians, some who have 6 Olympic medals to their name from, like you said, 4 different countries it was a rally cry to just stand up and say, this is not a health food for humans. We do not need cow's milk to be strong and virile and champions. And it was just really behind it all the way through was truth.
What did the Olympic Committee do? Did they call you up and say, stop this, Dotsie? Cease and desist?
That would be nice if they would have picked up the phone, but they decided to start sending threatening emails. So those were fun. But what they did, so it was either, we don't know, it was either the U.S. Olympic Committee or it was the dairy industry, one or the other or both. When the commercial started airing on the closing ceremonies, it aired twice in Washington, D.C. They called NBC, and because follow the dollar, they provide NBC with a lot of funding year after year after year, and especially every 2 years, right? Because winter and then summer Olympics, NBC didn't flinch and pulled the commercial. So we only aired in Washington, D.C., and we were supposed to air all the way across the country in 6 markets that entire night.
Oh, my gosh.
So that is why NBC did give us our money back, and then we aired during Oscar week the next week on ABC. But that just, there you go. Shows you the power of big business again. And
well, sometimes that kind of controversy can actually help get more eyes on this commercial that's caused so much of a furor. And now people can see it on the switchforgood.org
yeah,
homepage,
it is front and center on the homepage.
Yeah,
certainly. So
please watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the Seba Johnson's she's been vegan since birth.
Yep.
And
she's
Kendrick Osorio.
Yeah. Let's see. Kendrick Ferris. 3-time Olympian and Olympic weightlifter.
And was he the only one who made the...
From Team USA, yes,
yeah,
in 2016. Yeah, he's the only one that qualified. Only American, and, no, he's huge, as you are when you are an Olympic weightlifter, and no animal products on his plate.
That's great.
So thank you so much for tuning in today. If we helped you in any way, then click the subscribe button and let's keep hanging out together. We have so much more to share with you.
And if you need more information on actually making the switch for good, please visit us at switchforgood.org for loads of info. And you can subscribe to our mailing list where you will receive all sorts of super cool gifts, discount codes to our very fave dairy-free products, and a lifetime of powerful health tips.
So join us on the journey to switch for good. This is the future.